everybody, and welcome to the United Stand. Manchester United draw 1-1 at West Brom. Very, very disappointing performance from Manchester United. I've got to be honest, I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that. But what I would say is that I didn't disrespect West Brom. I expected us to win, but there were some United fans this morning who were like, straightforward win today, a couple of goals for some players to get their confidence up and we move. And I'm like, you're either doing that so that when we do lose, you can overreact, or you're ridiculously arrogant to what you've got to graft in a game of football. And the interesting thing I would say is that in our last 5 games, we've taken, from the last 15 points, we've taken 6. We lost to Sheffield United, we drew with Arsenal, we beat Southampton, we've drawn with Everton, and now we've drawn with West Brom. That's not good. I'm worried about top 4. I think top 4 is in danger. People are saying the title's over. The title was over for me when we lost to Sheffield United. I thought, that's it. You know, you can't lose games like that. For some people, today will be about the title being over. For me, it's not about the title being over. It's about, we're now back in a race for top 4. I think top 4 becomes dangerous. Really, really does become dangerous. Especially when you're taking, as I said, you're taking 6 points from 15, but the teams that we're dropping points to, Sheffield, we've taken 1 point from Sheffield United and West Brom. And also, can I just say, I'm worried about the coaching at Manchester United. I'm not Ollie out. I'm not going to do that. I think it's such a redundant argument. Unless you've been consistently Ollie out, I'll put some respect on that. But I'm not lurching towards Ollie out because we draw against West Brom. I've always said, give him till May. Let's see where we are in May. But what I did say when we were top in January is that if you'd said we'd be top 2 months before that, I'd have said you're a fool. If you tell it, but what I did say in January is, wouldn't be surprised me if we were 5th in 2 months' time, because that's just the way we are. We don't settle. I don't think we've bounced back from Sheffield United. I think you know what I think's happened to United? I'm sad to say this. We haven't learned. We haven't progressed. Remember what we spoke about. When Ollie first came in, 3 really good months, went to shit. Last summer, 3 really good months, started the season shit. 3 months again, we've gone shit again. 6 points from 15 is not bouncing back from Sheffield United. It's now become a consistent period of bad performances again. Why are we performing badly? Because of the coaching, because of the selections. Mason Greenwood in 20 minutes was probably our best outfield player. Why was he not starting the game? He played brilliant against West Ham on Tuesday. He's played brilliant the game before, and we drop him for Martial, who, look, I like Martial, but he ain't playing well. Mason Greenwood should have started that game. For 20 minutes, I just wanted him to get the ball. Every time Mason Greenwood got the ball, he just looked exciting. Now, if he can do that in 20 minutes when he's got McFred trying to create things for him, imagine what he can do if he played for 90 minutes with a proper bloody midfield behind him. But we've been the masters of our own downfall there. And also, please do the player ratings, because the link is in the video description. Mark every player out of 10. 6 is the average, and put a star next to your man of the match and submit it, because we'll go through that in a few minutes. But Martial's time's up, says Tommy Vincent. Pathetic. I disagree on this. Cavani was the invisible man on his birthday. Rashford, again, indecisive. Martial didn't play well, but I think you've got to stop individualising things. And I tell you what, can I just say as well, I'll get this in early, to all the prats on mainstream media, to all the prats who wanted David De Gea to be dropped, to all the prats who scapegoated David De Gea this week, we drew against Everton because of our centre-back pairing being a pair of jokers. We've not won today because our centre-back pairing is a pair of jokers. And David De Gea is probably going to be my man of the match for that double save that saved Harry Maguire's blushes. He couldn't do anything about Lindelof's blushes. So all these prats this week going on about David De Gea, drop David De Gea. Well, he's probably just man of the match with Greenwood tonight for me, this afternoon. So sit down with your stupid scapegoating arguments and your 5-minute analysis on Sky Sports and wake up and smell the bloody coffee of what's going on at Manchester United. Because anyone will tell you what the real issue is at Manchester United. The centre-back pairing and playing McFred in front of them, who couldn't create a bloody pottery vase. They can't do it. They can't create. And this is why Cavani, Rashford, Bruno, Martial, Greenwood don't get quick ball. Because McFred don't move it quick enough and spend more of their time shitting themselves protecting those inadequate centre-backs. And I don't blame them for shitting themselves. and trying to protect their inadequate centre-backs. We played West Brom today, and David De Gea was busier than Sam Johnston. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Put that in your pipe and smoke it when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer comes out like he did after Sheffield United and he'll go, you know what, I don't want to complain about referees, but I'm going to complain about referees. I'm not going to complain about the referee tonight because I think that is embarrassing. It's embarrassing to complain about the referee. Should the first goal have been given? Maybe it was a foul on Lindelof, but to be honest, his defending is so poor, he almost deserves to get foul. Should it have been a penalty on Harry Maguire? I thought he was offside anyway. I thought he was offside. But if he's not offside, I think it is a penalty because I don't think Harry Maguire's capable of diving. So, but you can't come out against West Brom and say, oh, the referees cost us the game. Because it's West Brom. West Brom had probably the best chance of the game. That cross to Digne where he put it over the bar. So I disagree. We cannot come out blaming the referee. What Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needs to do, and we've been saying it for so long, there's two things for me. Why in a game like that is David De Gea our man of the match? And why is David De Gea being tested more than West Brom's goalkeeper? And why is Sam Allardyce, a man who should have been put in a museum years ago, and it should have a little plaque saying he used to win games playing dinosaur football, why is Sam Allardyce outdoing our coaches tactically in 2021? These are the questions that need to be asked today. This is not Ollie out. This is not United in crisis. This is, how does Manchester United go from being a top 4 club to being a title contender? And this is the ceiling. And are we going to break through that ceiling? We won't break through the ceiling with that level of coaching today. That's what we won't do. We are in a better position than Van Gaal. We are in a better position than Mourinho. And Solskjaer has still produced a miracle this season, getting us where we are. But tactically today, there are schoolboy errors there. And those schoolboy errors for me are this. That striker for West Brom has always been 6 foot whatever. And Lindelof has always been smaller than him. Why do you go into a game of football when Eric Bailly and Maguire play well and will play a higher line and Eric Bailly's better in the air? Why do you put Lindelof next to Maguire against a striker like that when Eric Bailly is fit? And you know why he does it? Because for some reason, Solskjaer thinks Maguire and Lindelof aren't shit. And as a partnership, they are shit. Not saying Maguire's shit, not saying Lindelof's shit, but as a pairing, they do not work. Rio Ferdinand said they give him nightmares. They don't work, Ollie. It's not just me. It's not just the fans. Everybody knows they don't work. And we're 1-0 down because you picked Lindelof. That's why we're 1-0 down. And then we don't create anything for most of the game because you play McFred. You've got to put somebody next to McTominay or Fred who can actually play football and move the ball through the lines. They don't. They go side to side to side to side. And by the time the forwards get it, the opposition are in position. And we don't move the ball quick enough. So these are things that could have been changed very, very quickly. They could have been changed before the game. Could have been changed during the game. And look, Maguire hits the post at the end. Who gives a shit? Like, it really would have been a get out of jail win. We should be winning games like that because we're tactically better than them. So come out and say, I should have had a penalty or it should have been a foul, totally disrespects what Manchester United is meant to be. We're second in the league and they're going to get relegated. And ultimately, it would have been harsh on them if we'd nicked that game at the end. And I can say that as a United fan. We have a number of players we seriously overrate. Maguire, Lindelof, Fred, Martial, all our coaches and managers, says Brad Lewis. Rashford is too selfish, says Kevin. I don't believe Ollie deserves a contract renewal. It will be the same next year with him. We will be okay with top 4 if he stays, says Jose. Ollie's favouritism in the coaching setup and the approach to games is going to be his downfall. We aren't learning lessons at any level of the club, says Graham. Not Ollie out because of results, but it would not benefit us to give him a new contract. It's the coaching tactics, same mistakes of Donny's treatment, says Edward Walters. Harry's blaming attack for not taking chances. He should be thanking De Gea for saving a point. Maguire needs to live up to the freaking armband, says Gabriel Noel. And Wan-Bissaka is a massive liability in these games. To get a good attacking right back for these games, says Nicholas Bendner. Look, I think we can wander around the houses in relation to who is at fault, and we can all go after individuals. I don't think, as a football club, that is beneficial for Manchester United anymore. You know, I think that... look, Harry Maguire is out there talking about making more chances. Mate, David De Gea has saved your ass tonight. David De Gea, you've got, as a captain of this club, will you please come out and put some self-reflection on your shit defenders? Like, you cannot keep saying we need to create more chances when you don't give the team a platform to build upon. Like, the defence, we're 1-0 down after 3 minutes. That's on the defence. We're 3-2 up with 10 seconds to go, and we draw the game 3-3. Our last 2 Premier League games, we have dropped 4 points because of you and your defence. Stop passing the buck. You're captain of Manchester United. You're not captain of Leicester. At this football club, you can't come out and speak bollocks. Own it. David De Gea made you relevant, mate. You can live off missing a header off the post. If David De Gea doesn't make 2 great saves, you're the prat. You know, own the fact that I'm fed up of the arse covering from Maguire and from Ollie about the centre-back issue. It is glaringly obvious that our centre-back partnership has cost us so many points this season. And last week against Everton and today, it's glaringly obvious who is costing us the points. Own it. Stop deflecting the blame. Stop walking into interviews or the dressing room saying we need to create chances. Because he's very vocal about blaming anybody else except from his centre-back partnership. And the reality is, everybody else knows it, Harry. Wake up and smell the coffee. Walk into Carrington tomorrow. Bang on Ollie's door and say, please play me with Eric Bailly because I will be a better player for it. Stop trying to polish a turd. Lindelof, Maguire, Magaluf, whatever you want to call them, we can't fix this problem because it ain't fixable. They do not work. Ollie needs to realise it. Harry needs to realise it. Face up to it. Own it. Deal with it. We are shit at centre-back. And we need to improve. And I'm fed up of saying it, and I'm sure everybody is fed up of listening to it. But we are rubbish at centre-back. And that you cannot go into any Premier League game and give up soft goals. Sheffield United beat us. West Brom get a point out of us. We don't create enough chances, full stop. So if we're conceding goals, we're always going to give a team an opportunity. Biggest issue is the tactics, Mark. I've said it, haven't I? I've said it. I think that McFred don't create enough chances. They don't create enough chances. And I know they're not strikers, but they've got to move the ball quicker. Maguire's headers going in would be like putting a plaster on a broken leg. You know it's going to help, but we'll still smile and say everything's okay, says Dave Davis. Maguire must have been told he never makes mistakes growing up, says Kevin Murray. How many clear-cut chances today did we create against for our number 9? We can't keep relying on luck to win us games. I don't think Cavani had a chance. Unheard. I don't think Cavani actually had a shot on goal. Enough blaming players. What top coach plays Lindelof and McFred against West Brom, says Armand. I agree. I do agree with that. I think that the coaches have got to take responsibility for that performance. As much as they take responsibility for beating Southampton 9-0, and that was fantastic, you've got to take responsibility for sending a team out like that. And the reality is, I think West Brom had the better chances to win the game. I mean, I'm looking at this again. Look, Harry Maguire here, what is he doing? What is he doing? Like, De Gea makes 2 fantastic saves. I do not know what he's doing. That was a great chance. Should have scored it for West Brom. So I don't get it. But look, let me bring it back to something here. The goal is a mistake. Ollie spoke about McTominay being box to box in the week. He played as a CDM against West Brom, and so did Fred. We struggled against the poor West Ham side. The excuses will come out about things like that. I thought Greenwood should have started the game, and that was proven by the way that he came on. But I genuinely do worry about top 4 now. And the reason I worry about top 4 is because I think we're in a race for top 4. We're not in a race. The City have won the title. Just give City the title. That's not going to happen. We can't challenge with City. If we're the challenge to City, they're fine. They're okay. But I worry about the race for top 4 now because we've been beaten by Sheffield United. We've not beaten West Brom. This absolutely means anybody can beat us. Anybody can get points out of us and anybody can beat us. And we have got 14 games left and the Europa League starts on Thursday. We're going into Thursday, Sunday football. And in our last 5 Premier League games, we've taken 6 points from 15. We've not even taken 50%. And people will say, well, we've only lost 1 game, but we've drawn 3. 3 draws are 3 points out of 9. Draws aren't good enough when they're happening a lot, and we're drawing a lot. We've drawn 3 from the last 5. We've taken 6 points from the last 15. That is not good. We are living off fumes. We're living off being top of the league in January, and they need a cold shower. That United side needs a cold shower. But if I was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer tonight, having a romantic meal with Carrick, I would say, I'm joking, he's married. If I'm Ole Gunnar Solskjaer tonight, having my glass of red, relaxing, one thing that would keep me awake tonight, I got tactically outdone by Sam Allardyce. Sam Allardyce. You know, this is a manager that was relevant 15 years ago. He shouldn't even be in modern football. The most basic manager in the Premier League, and you got tactically outdone by him. And West Brom had the better chances. Not good enough. You have to put the finger at the coaches today. But look, whilst I put my fingers at the coaches, Martial was shit. Martial's one of my favourite players. The coaching was poor today. I'm not Ollie out because that's for me. That's for me. To go Ollie out after that and start panting and overreacting and everything like that, I'm not going to do that. But I will own up and say that tactically that was a joke. To play the way we did, 2 holding midfielders with no creativity. McTominay is a box-to-box player. He needs to play on the edge of the box. He's not a player to play from deep. If he's the new Michael Carrick, if I was Michael Carrick, I'd be putting a claim in under the Trades Description Act because he ain't no Michael Carrick. No creativity in the midfield too until too late, and the defensive centre-back pairing was a bloody joke, and anyone could see that. I remember you saying after Sheffield lost, you worried for the games after that as we go on awful runs after a loss. I hate this team and manager, says Martin Tyler. Apart from Shaw, Bruno, McTominay and Cavani, which of our players genuinely work 100% even if they have a poor game? It should be a minimum requirement, says Mr. Glenn Johnson. Aaron Wan-Bissaka offers nothing going forward. McTominay and Fred slow it right down. You see Cavani making the runs, but it's too slow through the middle. We miss Pogba, not because Pogba's a fantastic player, he is, but because when Pogba's not fit, we've got nobody other than Van de Beek, which he won't do, to create from the midfield pivot. Why are all the players so static when the ball gets crossed? City have always got runners, says Joe Dawson. Hi Mark, really disappointing draw on my 15th birthday, but still love your vids and keep up the good work. Thanks for that, Slabhead Maguire. And bang on Mark, I've never been convinced by the coaches even when we did well, says Colin Murphy. It's always 2 steps forward, 1 step back. That's the problem. Anyway, let's do the player ratings. The link's in the video description so you can catch me up. Mark every player out of 10, 6 being average. Put a star next to your man of the match. We're going to start off with David De Gea. Please subscribe, by the way, bottom right-hand corner. We're on that road to 1 million. It is a joke of a game. Tyler's right. It's a joke of a game. To drop those points is a joke. I'm really disappointed. I'm not surprised. Me and Flex spoke about it before the game. I was getting annoyed by people saying straightforward win today. When in the last 8 years have United had a straightforward win? We're capable of losing any game just like we're capable of winning any game. We've got to move past this straightforward win today. We can all have a score prediction. That's fine. I predicted we'd win 4-0, but I wouldn't have bet my house on it. Tony's attitude needs to be questioned. This run-off form has gone on too long. Body language all wrong. Well, we'll talk about Tony in a minute. Right. Please smash a like on the video. We're moving into the player ratings. So let's see what you voted for. Well, David De Gea for me is a man of the match contender, so I'd give him a 7. 6.8 seems a little bit low to me. I mean, maybe we've got a few David De Gea haters still. You know, he isn't, at the end of the day, he's not British, is he? So keep the agenda going. But David De Gea made 3 good saves today. The one where he tipped it over the bar and the 2 from Maguire's mistake that were fantastic saves. And that would have cost us the game. And I think that all these De Gea haters are in the mud because his relevancy has kept us from losing that game today. So I thought De Gea played really well and would be a man of the match contender for me. Wan-Bissaka, I'd probably give him a 6. I don't know whether it'd go as a 5.6, but I mean, it's not easy for Wan-Bissaka, is it? He's had a very roller coaster season, very up and down, and we've seen that. And he didn't offer much from the right hand side going forward, but he's got a different partner with him in Rashford. He's got Lindelof next to him, who's a bloody liability. So there's not a lot of stability around Wan-Bissaka, is what I'm trying to say. So I'd give him an average 6 today. Lindelof, he could have cost us 3 goals, 2. I'm not going to get. You've given him 2.9. I'll give him a 2. The first goal is a joke. There was another header where he got pushed off. There's another cross. I just thought it was like playing with 10 men. But I've got to say, we've got to stop individualising our centre-backs. I've got to stop doing it, and I think we've all got to stop doing it. Because last week it was Maguire, and people were like, Lindelof's all right, it's Maguire. This week people are going, Maguire's all right, it's Lindelof. The partnership is killing them both. They are being dragged down by a partnership that doesn't work. It's one of the few remaining partnerships in football. It used to be front twos. But centre-back partnership is one of the most enduring partnerships in football, where you are only as good as your partner. Lindelof today was a bloody nightmare. But I also think that the coaches threw him to the wolves. He's up against the guy who's stronger than him, who's quicker than him, who's taller than him, and he got exposed by him. And we've got a guy on the bench who, in Eric Bailly, would have been quicker than that striker, taller than that striker, and stronger than that striker. And Lindelof got thrown to the wolves. Tactically, I thought it was absolutely stupid. And I think it's absolutely stupid that Maguire and Lindelof are our number one partnership, when we've seen Maguire and Bailly are way better. I'm not saying they're brilliant. There's still issues with Maguire and Bailly, but it's way better than Maguire and Lindelof. So, awful from Maguire. Awful from Lindelof. Maguire, for me, 5. I don't think he was that bad going forward. I think David De Gea saved him from a 2. If that goal had gone in, Maguire would have been as bad as Lindelof. But he did go forward. He had a part to play in the goal. He was unlucky with the header. I thought it was a penalty. So I thought Maguire going forward was great. But we've got to stop. This goes back on the coaches again. Maguire's doing something because he's being tactically told to do it. He's being told to push forward. He's been told to be the spare man. We've spent £80 million on a lad that we treat like a 5'6" Lothar Matthäus. We treat him like a sweeper. He plays like a sweeper. He plays like a spare man. What did we buy him for? He's strong. He's good in the air. And we don't use him for that unless we get a corner. He doesn't mark anybody on crosses. He's always the spare man. We treat him like Lothar Matthäus. And we spent £80 million on it. We don't use his height or strength at all. And that's a tactical drawback as well. So, yeah, I'd give Maguire a 5 today, but I don't think it was terrible. But, you're only as good as your partnership. And the partnership looked like the Titanic. Looked like it was sinking. When's it going to hit rock bottom? Luke Shaw, for me, he got an assist. You've got to give him a 6. I thought defensively he wasn't as strong as he has been. And I don't think we utilised him as much. And I think that's because Maguire was getting in his way a lot. But I thought that, Luke Shaw, again, what's he got? 5 assists in his last 10 games or something like that. Last 20 games. So, welcome to the Members Club, Grocer. And getting really ticked off, Mark. That's twice I've seen Maguire faffing about with the ball when someone is on him. Last time it was Everton, and I swear they ended up scoring. And again today, says Jay Omeran. So, yeah, I'd give Luke Shaw a 6. Some of you given him a 6.3. But I thought by Luke Shaw's high standards, and even though he got an assist, I thought Luke Shaw had an average game by his high standards. I think he can play better than that. Fred, 5 for me. I think Fred should have been taken off and McTominay should have stayed where he was, and Van der Beek should have come on at half time. I think with Fred, it's not that he had a bad game. I think with Fred, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get tenacity. You're going to get somebody who can make tackles. You're going to get somebody who's crap at passing. You're going to get somebody who's not an offensive threat. You're going to get somebody who doesn't track his man. West Brom had another chance, I just forgot, where a midfielder broke through and Fred didn't go with him. So I think with Fred now, are we starting to hit the ceiling with Fred, whereby, yeah, he's massively underrated, and he is, but what does he actually bring? What is the future with Fred? He's never going to be a goal scorer. He's never going to be a creator, and he's never going to be a CDM. Well, in that system, what is he then? Is Fred the one that we're carrying? Is Fred the player that, we always say McFred are two people doing one person's job. But what can Fred do? So, I'm disappointed with Fred today because we basically gave up the midfield to West Brom because we had no creativity. McTominay, probably give him a 5 as well. If he's a box-to-box player and you can't get him in the box... I mean, he nearly scored a goal, to be fair. Cleared off the line, but you can't just stick McTominay in the centre circle and ask him to play 40-yard passes. It's too slow. And I think he lost a lot of 50-50s today. And this is the problem with McTominay. I don't want to criticise because you get people saying, you've got an agenda. But then he scores a goal and everyone says he's going to be the next Darren Fletcher. And then you're like, well, he's got to do that 10 games in a row and it never happens. So, I don't think McTominay was as bad as Fred today. But, if McTominay and Fred's our midfield, we ain't going to win anything. It's not good enough. It's just not good enough. And this is why I keep saying a CDM is a priority for Manchester United as much as a centre-back is. Because today we conceded because of the centre-backs, but we didn't create because of the midfield. And Ollie's obsession with Maguire and Lindelof and McFred is going to be the downfall of him and this team. It's not good enough. That 4 is a problem. You can't just stick McFred in front of Maguire and Lindelof. It's just not good enough. Not good offensively, not good defensively. They don't pick up the runners and the defenders don't defend. And then we don't create. So, Cavani today is going to get a low score, but we created nothing. Bruno, I'd probably give him a 6, 6.5. Good goal, kept trying. Glad he got his goal because in games like that, he's living on scraps. He's living on, nothing, fumes. There's nothing going on really. The movement's too slow. But he got the goal and it was a good goal. So I'd give Bruno a 6. The same as Luke Shaw. I think they're two of our better players today, but the performance is so poor overall. I don't want to give out too many 7s. So I give Bruno a 6. Rashford, definitely a 5, 4.4. I'm not surprised people went low with him. Rashford had one of those games again today where occasionally he did good things. He put some good crosses into the box. But I think the enduring thing from Rashford for me today and the frustrating thing from Rashford for me today is I think he was offside anyway, but right in the first half, it came across to him he should have shot and he took 2 or 3 touches. Numerous times today, Rashford was indecisive. Takes 2 or 3 touches and even the good cross he put in, he overcooked that really. He took 2 or 3 skill moves there. He's overdoing it. He's doing this stop-start thing. He takes on one player too many. He takes 2 touches too many. Rashford is at his best over the last 5 years. Rashford is at his best when he plays on the edge. When he hits the shot first time, where he goes past one player and passes it. And today he had one of those games where he tries to do too much. So disappointing from Rashford again today. And ultimately Rashford's form since Sheffield United hasn't been that good. Martial would get a 4 from me, 3.6 from you. Yeah, I mean, look, it wasn't good. He shouldn't have started the game. That was probably the third mistake Ollie made. The first mistake was picking Lindelof. The second mistake was McFred. The third mistake was not picking Greenwood for Martial. So, yeah, Martial didn't have a good game. But what I would say is, and I'm sure some people will agree with me on this one, is that Martial, Rashford, Cavani are also the victims of McFred. Because Cavani had nothing today. Martial had very little today. Rashford had very little today. We created very little. Let's not forget, West Brom had more chances than we did. Sam Allardyce created more chances than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Sam Johnston had less to do than David De Gea. So we didn't create enough. So Martial is a victim as much as Cavani is and Rashford is. That, yeah, they didn't play well, but they also didn't get enough because we had no creativity in the midfield. And the same with Bruno. Bruno's only as good as the service he gets. And when you get slow ball, you get the ball and then the opposition are organised. The main thing any attacker wants is quick ball. So that when they turn around, they see defenders out of position. And this is the most key thing I would say about United. It was the big problem under Van Gaal and it was the big problem under Jose Mourinho. Slow ball, not creating enough chances. Because if Bruno gets the ball and the defence of West Brom is organised and everyone's in place, very difficult. Very difficult. If Bruno gets the ball and West Brom aren't organised, very much easier. This is what Man City do. This is what Liverpool do. This is what Chelsea do. Quick ball into your attacking players. Defences aren't organised. Chances come around. Man United don't create chances because we get slow ball from the defence and slow ball from the midfield. And the midfield is the pivot, McFred or Matic, whoever. So slow ball, and it doesn't help anybody. So Cavani, for me, Cavani would be 5. You could go lower if you wanted to, but I sympathise with Cavani. It was almost like Cavani didn't play. Did we give him his birthday off? I didn't notice Cavani today. That's shocking. Against a team that's going to get relegated, to have a striker that you don't notice is embarrassing. All right, if you're playing Liverpool at Anfield, I could say, well, they're just better than us. Couldn't get any ball to him. But we just played West Brom. They're awful. They're an awful side. Even West Brom fans think that. And Cavani, we're having to give him a 4 or a 5. That's shocking. That's a shocking indictment on the creativity of Manchester United and the tactics we implemented. That Cavani gets a low score and we didn't even notice him playing. That's shocking. And it's not on the player. It's not on the player because what's a striker meant to do without service? So that's the biggest bit of evidence for me. Mason Greenwood 7. I thought Mason Greenwood played really well. Just not on the pitch long enough. He's a player who can create something out of nothing. He's a player that scares the opposition. He's a player that's matured in the last 2 months. He's a player that should be starting games. He never should have been dropped. I don't know why Mason Greenwood got dropped for this game today. I actually would go as far as to say if he'd played 90 minutes, we would have won because something would have happened with Greenwood. He nearly scored anyway. So I don't understand why Mason Greenwood didn't play in this game, to be honest with you. So I don't really understand that one. Not at all. Right, got to do Van der Beek, then we're going to do Ollie. So I want to go to the live comments to see what people are saying. Van der Beek, give him a 6. Yeah, should have come on a lot earlier than that for me, Donny. And I don't think he did particularly bad. So I'd give Donny a 6. What are we going to give Ollie today? This is probably the first time in a long time where I'm going to go in on Ollie and say he got it wrong. And tactically, the coach has got it wrong. For the reasons I've said, Lindelof never should have been picked. It was a mismatch and it cost us a goal. It could have cost us more. McFred played too deep and don't have any creativity. And we didn't create enough chances. And Greenwood should have started the game. They're the 3 things for me that were wrong. So I would give Ollie a 4, in my opinion. It wasn't good today. And Solskjaer's got to take the blame. Which you're going to have to do. Doesn't matter whether you're top of the league or not. You're going to have games as a manager where you get it wrong. And I think today a lot of it was about Ollie. And I think you've got to stop. Lindelof was terrible, but he shouldn't have been picked. Martial didn't play well, but he shouldn't have been picked. Fred didn't play well. McTominay didn't play well, but one of them shouldn't have been picked. So, and I think one thing that comes out that also begins with an F. 4 begins with F, but so does favouritism. I think we're seeing favouritism in this team now. I think McFred is a favouritism duo, and I think Lindelof and Maguire are a favouritism duo. Good managers make brave decisions. Good managers aren't scared to mix things up. And I think good managers would play Bailly and Maguire, and good managers would give Van der Beek a go in the pivot next to McTominay or next to Fred. Because I think that's what we need to do. We are glaringly weak in those areas, and it worries me. It really does. So 3.4 is what you've given. But look, man of the match for me, let me give you the man of the match. The man of the match for me is going to be David De Gea. 6.8 was the score, so it maybe will be your man of the match, actually. Submit your votes. Bruno Fernandes, fucking hell. I don't know how he's managed it. Fair play. Bruno Fernandes is your man of the match. It's always the way, isn't it? I'm surprised. I actually thought it was going to be Ollie. I thought it was going to be David De Gea. David De Gea got 32% of the vote. So he was close. But it's Bruno who steals man of the match, I think. And I think that this is the old thing, isn't it? This is about... this is why Ballon d'Or winners tend to be strikers. So Bruno gets man of the match. But David De Gea, for me, earns... is my man of the match, and I'm so pleased. I'm not happy with that result. I'm not happy with how we played. I'm very pissed off, but I'm really pleased for De Gea because that double save was world class, and I think he's been scapegoated this week. And I think all those people on Sky or in the local newspapers or in the mainstream media who spent the week trying to make an issue about David De Gea, they're rolling around in the mud. They're in a mud bath because the centre backs cost us the game last week. The centre-backs cost us the game this week. and the centre-backs have been costing us points all season. So next week, Sky, I want to see you talking about Maguire and Lindelof. And this week, mainstream media, I want to see you talking about Maguire and Lindelof. And then the second issue is the lack of creativity in the midfield pivot. Leave De Gea alone and start looking at where the real problems are. Because when you're looking at the fake problems, you're letting the real problems get away with it. So big up De Gea. He was my man of the match. Smash a like on the video, by the way. Let's see if we can get to 5,000 likes. In fact, smash a like on the video for David De Gea. He's been put through the mill this week by the British media. Stand with David De Gea. Smash a like on the video for David De Gea. And I want to see David De Gea in the live comments of the fan forum, which is live with KG and Flex and Alex and Kev. Let's get over there and see what they've got to say. But I want to see De Gea raid in the live comments there as well. Thanks everyone for watching. Smash a like on the video. I'll speak to you a bit. And disappointing today. A big week ahead for United. We're in the Europa League playing Thursday, Sunday now. And I'm worried about top four. Speak to you in a bit.